What if time itself holds secrets that refuse to fade away? Join us as we uncover the UK's most haunted squares and eerie clock towers, where the past's darkest stories and restless spirits still linger in the shadows. 1. Berkeley Square. Berkeley Square in Mayfair is known for wealth and elegance by day, but after dark, something far colder lingers. Though number 50 is infamous for its ghost stories, strange phenomena have been reported across the entire square. Locals often speak of a chilling wind with no source, or footsteps echoing when the streets are empty. Some even say they've brushed against something icy, only to find no one near. A few brave souls claim to have seen a misty figure drifting under the old trees, especially around midnight. Many believe the tragedies inside number 50 have poisoned the ground itself. Taxi drivers have refused late-night pickups here, claiming they saw shadowy figures cross the square. One night walker said he locked eyes with a woman in Victorian dress, who vanished before his eyes. There's a deep stillness in the square at night, like the air itself is holding its breath. It's as if the square remembers every death, every sorrow that once unfolded here. Some say the veil between the living and the dead is thinner in Berkeley Square. Would you dare to walk through it, alone, after midnight? 2. Victoria Square. Victoria Square in Birmingham is beautiful, grand, and always full of movement. But after the shops close and the crowds disappear, a strange stillness settles in. It starts with a faint sound, like whispers, riding the wind, circling the square. Many claim the sounds come from the old fountain, where voices echo in impossible ways. One night, a security guard paused near the statue of Queen Victoria and heard sobbing. He searched the area. No one was there, but the crying didn't stop. When he looked up, he saw a pale woman standing behind the statue. Then she was gone. There are also reports of a man in a dark cloak walking up the steps of the town hall. He vanishes before reaching the top, leaving only a cold spot behind. Old records show that 2 workers died during early renovations of the square in the 19th century. Some believe their spirits linger, trapped in the stone they helped shape. Artists say their sculptures sometimes shift slightly overnight, as if reacting to something unseen. A few even claim to find new scratches or handprints in places no one could reach. The square rests above a series of sealed tunnels, shut for public safety, though no reason was ever given. At night, the light from the fountain flickers, casting long shadows that don't match any object. Locals say the square listens, and if you're quiet enough, it might whisper back. 3. Saffron Walden Common. Saffron Walden Common is a peaceful patch of green in Essex, but beneath the calm lies a legacy soaked in blood and fear. Centuries ago, this very field was used for public executions. Crowds would gather to witness hangings, burnings, and the slow march of death. Even now, the earth seems heavier in places, as if it remembers. Some nights, people hear rope creaking in the trees, though nothing hangs from them. A woman in torn robes is often seen walking the edge of the green at twilight. Children speak of a faceless man who stands motionless under the old oak, vanishing if approached. There is a patch where grass grows unevenly year-round. Locals call it the Scorched Circle. Joggers report being chased by something fast and snarling, with glowing red eyes. When they turn, nothing, but their breath clouds like winter, even on warm evenings. Some claim the souls of the condemned are still here, trapped in their final moments. The common is unusually silent after dark. Even birds fall quiet. Dogs refuse to cross certain paths, tails tucked eyes fixed on something unseen. Old stories warn not to walk the full perimeter after sunset. It's said to awaken what sleeps. You can visit Saffron Walden Common, but the land will watch you. And sometimes, it remembers more than you want it to. 4. Vincent Square. Vincent Square in Westminster is known for its large playing field and elegant surroundings. But what lies beneath the grass tells a far older, darker tale. This land was once swampy marshland, later used to bury victims of plague and poverty. No headstones, no records, just bodies, forgotten by time. At night, the square becomes strangely still. Wind seems to stop, lights flicker around the pavilion, and shadows move behind drawn curtains. One coach swore he saw a man walk across the cricket pitch, then sink straight into the ground. Renovations in the 1970s uncovered human bones, quietly reburied without ceremony. Since then, strange occurrences have only increased. Players report cold patches that follow them, whispers when no one is speaking. One guard heard slow, dragging footsteps across the field, but found no prints in the morning dew. Some say the ground beneath is restless, that spirits lie too close to the surface. Even during the day, something about the place feels unsettled. Visitors often describe a pressure in their chest, like they're being held in place. It's as if the field itself is watching, waiting, measuring who walks upon it. Vincent Square may be a place of games now, but its past is far from play. 5. Ryhop Village Green. Ryhop Village Green in Sunderland seems like a perfect slice of countryside life. But behind the benches, trees, and birdsong lies a history of deep sorrow. The land once held a Victorian workhouse where the poor and sick were sent to disappear. Many died quietly, forgotten, unmourned. At night, strange noises echo across the green. Bells tolling, distant cries, and low humming. The bell is especially strange. It rings at exactly 3:11 a.m., though the chapel is long gone. An elderly local claims he saw children standing silently under the trees. They wore rags, didn't move, and faded when he blinked. Others have seen a woman in white walking the path with a lantern. She disappears near a bench known for sudden cold chills. People who sit there often feel like someone's sitting beside them, even when they're alone. Birds avoid the green in winter, and dogs pull hard to stay away from its edges. In one corner, landscaping crews once found bone fragments, explained away as animal remains, but old villagers say their grandparents were told never to dig too deep. The dreams come afterward, vivid, dark, forgotten by morning. There's a reason the clock tower overlooking the green sometimes stops at 3:11 a.m. In Ryhop, the past doesn't rest. It remembers who you are, and that you were here. 6 Pond Square in Highgate might appear calm, surrounded by brick walls and greenery. But for those who linger past midnight, the silence is often broken by screams. Not human screams exactly, more like a high-pitched, desperate screech. Witnesses have reported hearing it echo around the square, followed by rapid footsteps. But when they turn to look, there's nothing, only empty cobblestones and cold air. Then comes the strangest part, the ghost of a featherless chicken. It runs in frantic circles before vanishing into thin air, right before people's eyes. The tale dates back to Sir Francis Bacon, who died after testing if meat could be frozen. He supposedly stuffed a chicken with snow near this very square, and some believe it died in terror. Since then, the square has had moments of inexplicable cold, even in summer. Phones glitch, batteries drain, people get lost in thought. forgetting how long they've been there. Locals say the bird isn't alone. A figure has been spotted watching from the shadows, silent and unmoving. Some say it's Bacon himself, bound to the square by unfinished business or guilt. Whether it's a ghostly experiment gone wrong or something deeper, one thing is certain. Pond Square doesn't want to be forgotten, and it has its ways of reminding you. 7. Old Market Square. Old Market Square in Nottingham is vast, bustling, and full of light during the day. But when the city quiets, something beneath the stone begins to stir. The square is built above a network of ancient caves and tunnels, some still unexplored. Locals have heard muffled voices and distant clinking chains rising from underground vents. A ghostly horseman has been seen galloping across the square at night, then vanishing mid-stride. He always disappears at the same spot, where public executions once drew crowds. Some believe the spirits of those wrongly hanged still haunt this open space. A woman in grey is sometimes spotted standing perfectly still in the center of the square. When approached, she dissolves into mist, leaving behind the smell of damp stone. In 1831, the square saw violent riots, and some say the unrest never truly ended. Security cameras often show blurry figures moving where no one should be. Even pigeons avoid the center at night, circling but never landing. Tourists report cold spots and nausea, and their photos sometimes capture pale faces, watching. The ground beneath Old Market Square has held history, blood, and secrets for centuries. Some things buried don't want to stay that way. 8. Trafalgar Square. Trafalgar Square is London's beating heart, alive with energy, art, and history. But beneath the roar of fountains and tourists, something older waits and watches. At night, the statues seem to shift, just slightly, enough to make your skin crawl. Some say Admiral Nelson himself climbs down from his column on certain nights, pacing the square. Others have seen the outline of a sailor, drenched and limping, walking toward the fountains. He vanishes the moment water touches his boots. There are stories of a dark figure sitting atop the lion statues, never seen moving, but always gone by sunrise. The square once stood near execution grounds, and some say the land remembers the cries. One woman claimed to hear cannon fire and marching boots beneath her feet, while completely alone. There's a chill that creeps in after 2 a.m., even during the hottest nights. A paranormal investigator once stayed overnight, only to flee, muttering about too many voices. Photographers report distorted images, warped faces, and ghostly reflections in fountain water. Trafalgar Square may be full of light, but the shadows here run deep. And at the center of it all, something is always watching. 9. Queen's Square. Queen's Square in Wrexham, Wales is a quiet place. Flowers bloom, people stroll, but when the streets go empty, the square becomes strangely still. Long ago, this area was used as a burial ground. Some say not all bodies were moved. At night, fog rolls in faster than anywhere else in town, covering the square in moments. Within the mist, shadowy shapes have been seen walking slowly, deliberately, but never reaching the edges. A crying woman in white appears under a single street lamp, always the same one. She disappears when approached, leaving behind a sudden drop in temperature and the smell of old stone. Children speak of a man with no eyes who stares from the memorial steps. The town clock has been known to stop at exactly 4:06 a.m., then start again without warning. CCTV has captured strange flashes of light, like someone striking a match, though no one is there. Some buildings facing the square report electrical failures but only between 3 and 5 a.m. Locals don't like talking about it, but many admit they avoid the square at night. It's not the dark they fear, it's what they might see. Standing still, waiting, watching. In Queen's Square, even silence has weight. 10. Preston Park Clock Tower. Preston Park Clock Tower in Brighton looks innocent during the day, standing tall and proud. But when the sun sets, strange things begin to happen. At night, the clock tower tolls at irregular hours, when it's not even time to chime. Locals have heard the bell ring at 3 a.m., the sound echoing through empty streets. Some swear they've seen the clock hands moving backwards, as if time itself is unraveling. One night watchman reported hearing footsteps behind him on the tower steps. When he turned to look, there was nothing, just an empty, silent tower. It's believed that a long-dead bell ringer haunts this tower, still fulfilling his duties from beyond the grave. He was crushed under the weight of the bell many years ago, and now he's said to toll for the lost. Others feel a sudden drop in temperature around the tower, as though the spirits themselves are drawing close. The chimes themselves are said to have an eerie echo, one that lingers far longer than it should. Few dare to walk near it after dark. Something in the air whispers that time is not on your side. 11. Reiton Town Hall Clock. Reiton Town Hall Clock has a reputation, not for its beauty, but for its curse. This imposing clock tower in Oldham has stood tall for centuries, but some say it has a darker purpose. The clock strikes the hour with a sharpness that can be heard for miles, but what's unsettling is when it doesn't. At midnight, the clock's hands sometimes stop, frozen in time. Strange figures are said to emerge from the shadows, gathering beneath the tower. Witnesses have seen a man in a long coat, his face obscured, staring up at the clock. Many believe the tower's clock is tied to a tragic event involving a family wrongly executed. Their spirits are said to be trapped here, forever linked to the hour. A postman once reported that the clock chimed 13 times on a quiet evening, and he never returned to work again. Reiton Town Hall. Clock may mark the hours, but it's the cursed ones that haunt it. 12. Big Ben Tower in London. Big Ben is London's pride, its iconic bell ringing through the heart of the city. But beneath the grandeur of this beloved landmark lies an eerie secret. When the clock strikes midnight, it's not just the chimes that can be heard. There are whispers, faint but clear. Some say it's the souls of those lost to history, whispers of war, betrayal, and death. One night, a tourist heard the chimes echoing strangely, like they were distorted by something unseen. He turned to leave, but as he did, he noticed something that stopped him in his tracks: the shadow of a man standing beneath the bell tower. The figure wore a tattered coat and looked directly at him. Before he could react, the shadow disappeared into thin air, leaving behind only the echo of the chimes. During World War II, Big Ben's tower was a target, and many believe the souls of those lost in the bombings are trapped in the tower's walls. Security guards report strange disturbances, footsteps when no one is around, doors slamming shut, and a sense of coldness that can't be explained. Big Ben marks the hour, but at midnight, it's the past that makes its presence known. 13. Chesterfields Crooked Spire. Chesterfields Crooked Spire is one of the most distinctive sights in England, a tower that tilts unnaturally. But it's not just its unusual shape that makes it stand out. There are strange events that occur around it. The spire has been called the shifting shadow because of the way its twisted form seems to change when you look at it from different angles. At night, the spire casts an eerie, warped shadow across the town square, stretching and shrinking as if it's alive. Some say the spire is cursed, a result of a tragic story of a bell ringer who fell to his death during its construction. His body was said to have been found at the foot of the tower, still clutching the rope. Locals say his ghost haunts the area, especially around the spire, still reaching out to pull the bell in the afterlife. Many claim to see figures moving behind the crooked windows, shadows that don't quite match the shape of any living person. It's said that the spire sings at night, the wind whistling through its crevices, creating haunting tones. For those who have ventured too close, a sense of dread fills the air. In Chesterfield, the crooked spire is not just a landmark, it's a warning. 14. Norwich City Hall. Clock Tower. Norwich City Hall's clock tower stands high above the city, a symbol of time and tradition. But those who have stayed too long in its shadow have felt something strange stir in the air. The clock tower's chimes are sharp, but it's the silence that follows that is unnerving. At midnight, the clock sometimes rings with a hollow sound, echoing emptiness where once there was life. Some believe that the tower holds the souls of those who once served the city, their spirits trapped in the chimes. On particularly quiet nights, passers-by report seeing a shadowy figure standing at the top of the tower. The figure never moves, only watches, as if waiting for something. One late-night visitor claimed to hear footsteps behind him as he approached the tower, but no one was there. There's a strange phenomenon where the hands of the clock seem to move in reverse on certain nights. Locals believe this is when the spirits of the past rise, reliving their final moments. Norwich City Hall. Clock Tower keeps time, but it also keeps memories, some of which refuse to be forgotten. 15. The Haunted Walden Clock Tower. Built in 1743 as part of William Champion's Walden brass works, the Walden Clock Tower is now a community centre, but is also known for its eerie reputation. Spirits of men, women and children who worked under harsh conditions are said to haunt the building. Visitors report cold spots and feeling watched, especially near the clock. Footsteps echo through the tower when no one is present, and shadowy figures have been seen. These hauntings are believed to stem from the difficult lives and tragic deaths of the factory workers. The 18th century bell still tolls, adding to the chilling atmosphere. The tower's dark past and reported hauntings make it a mysterious sight for those seeking to connect with the spirits of the past. Many say the building holds more than just history. It holds a presence that lingers. And that's a wrap on the most haunted squares and eerie clock towers. Have you been to any of these places? Share this video with your friends, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Creepy Experience for more chilling tales ahead.